My next guest here in studio, you have enjoyed many of the films that he has produced. The Rookie, Miracle, The Game Plan, Invincible, and also McFarland USA, where Kevin Costner was missing the running portion of his sports movie making career, and my guest Gordon Gray helped fill that void. Thank you for coming here on the program.
Thanks
Gordon.
for having me.
Really appreciate that. The story about your daughters is heartbreaking, and it's something that has taken over this entire Southern California community, and we're going to bring it to our viewing and listening audience. But first, I want to talk to you about your filmography and why did you clearly have a love of sports, and you nail it. You nail it every single time in every single one of these movies. What is your sports fan background, Gordon? Do you have one?
Probably up until around the age of 12, I thought I was going to be a professional baseball player. Until when I pitched, but it resembled batting practice. So
you realized early on.
Early on, yeah.
I realized that too. I needed to talk about it for a living.
Yeah.
If I wanted to reach a certain spot.
I still have all my baseball cards.
Okay.
I collected baseball cards with my brother. I had them. I think I have every series from 1970 until I got into high school. So 78.
Right.
I have them all.
And you could see as well, you know, with Jim Morris, with your baseball movie, The Rookie, your love of that particular sport is right then and there, right? When did you first learn about his story?
I had a partner that was up for a cup of coffee with the Brewers, and we were working out of the garage at the time as aspiring producers. He came in one day with a Sports Illustrated, and they had those little blurbs in the back, and he said, "Hey, I pitched with this guy in the minors." And at that point, we started following the story. Jim was still in the minors, and we were pursuing his rights, and we couldn't get him on the phone. We finally got a call from the dugout, and said we were interested.
From the dugout?
Yeah, from the dugout.
Really?
Yeah, he called from the dugout. And we told him, "Hey, we're interested in your story." And he said, "Well, you need to talk to my manager, who happened to be in L.A., thank God." And I said, "Great." We set a call Monday morning, 8 a.m. In the meantime, we had pitched Disney. Disney was interested. What happened from that call to the call that was set was he got called up in Texas by Tampa, and that Monday morning paper, I think it was Platschke.
Here in Los Angeles.
Here in Los Angeles, LA Times, colored, front of the paper, "Follow your dreams." And Mark and I immediately thought, "Oh no, we're never going to get this."
Yes, right.
So we called the manager, and he said, "I can't talk right now. I have 200 people calling, Spielberg, you know, everybody. Every person in the world was after this."
No kidding.
Yeah, so we waited a week to find out that we were given the opportunity to make the picture. That was one of the better moments in my early career.
Is that because you found him before everybody? Did he go with you because?
I think so, because when we sat down with the manager, we had said, "Hey, look, we've never even made a movie before. We have no money, but we think we could get this done." And he sort of liked the underdog quality of us. And he said, "You know what? I'm giving it to you guys." And it turned out to be our big break.
Oh, my gosh. And it was so well done. I just mentioned a scene in the previous segment here with Gordon Gray, producer here on the Rich Eisen show, that where he tested his arm out with a radar gun on the side of a road to see how fast he threw. Was that a true story? Did you come up with that as a sort of poetic license moment?
I would say we go to great lengths to make sure that our true stories are mostly true. That's probably the only moment that's not true.
Oh, so you picked that one out of all of them, huh?
But the screenwriter did that in his real life, and it works. It actually works.
But the fact that you went ahead and made it the wrong number, and he walks past it, doesn't see that it is the right number.
Oh, I love it. What a magical moment.
I mean, you're sitting there and you're like, "Oh, come on, just turn around," you know?
Look.
I mean,
yeah.
Right. Oh, my gosh. And then, so which one was next? Was Miracle next for you after that?
It was.
Okay. I mean, when you're talking about doing a story that everybody knows, were you concerned about going ahead and doing like everybody know? Like Jim Morris, people didn't know about until obviously the wrong time potentially for you and your producing partner. What about Miracle that attracted you to that project?
Well, I'm told, and I probably believe it's the greatest moment in American sports history. And it was called, rightfully so, A Miracle by Al Michaels. But the reality was it was the furthest thing from a miracle. Herb Brooks had a plan, and he executed that plan perfectly. He says, I don't want the best players, I want the right players. We could beat the Russians. We have to outskate them. So it wasn't a miracle, it was about dedication and hard work. And that's what we really wanted to show, the journey. And the story of Herb. Most people don't know that he was the last player cut from the 1960 hockey team. And his dad said, you know, hey, look, they cut the right guy. I'm sorry. They won the gold medal. So it was really that story. Everyone knew the result, and everyone said, well, how are you going to make this compelling? But it was the journey of the team and the players.
What was Herb like when you met him?
He was a really, really nice, intense, super intense guy, but very nice.
How so? How did you come across his intensity, Gordon, making Miracle? I love how you're choosing your thoughts and words carefully here right now.
So we had a meeting with Kurt Russell, Gavin O'Connor, the director, and Mark, the screenwriter, in Santa Monica, California, in a hotel room. And I wish I could find it, but we videotaped it. There was some spirited debate going on between the director and Herb and the writer. You know, Herb was intense. He wanted to do things his way. He came up at one point to visit us while we were filming, and he saw something that he thought was inaccurate, and he voiced his opinion, and that led to a little dissension to the. So
what was inaccurate? Do you recall?
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, hey, that would never have happened. You know, so. So
was he working on continuity as well? Was he saying
he was, you know, he couldn't help himself. He was in the middle of everything.
Sure.
Yeah, but very respectful, very polite. I got a kick out of him. He was a funny guy.
And what about Eruzione? How'd you find him?
Eruzione. I'm going to keep. Eruzione, I'm told, and has made a career out of one goal. Right?
Yes.
Right.
In a way, sure.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I remember we won the ESPY, and if I remember correctly, I think we won the ESPY.
Sure.
And I think Eruzione was holding it and accepted it. You know.
It's his goal, I guess. Maybe your movie and your ESPY, but it's his goal, right? I'm here with Gordon Gray, producer of The Rookie, A Miracle, and then before we take a break and talk about your daughters, Invincible with Vince Papale.
Yes.
Tell me about Vince and how and your interactions with Vince Papale on that movie that Mark Wahlberg played this guy from Philadelphia, sort of like the Rocky in cleats in a way.
Yeah, I mean, when I met Vince, he looked like he was carved out of a charcoal briquette. I mean, the guy has zero body fat. His hands are bigger than two of mine, and his head's the size of a buffalo head. I mean, the guy is a specimen. And I remember him telling me at the time that he was probably the fastest guy in the NFL, and probably still, even though I think he was around mid-50s, still one of the fastest guys on the planet. He didn't lack confidence at all. And this was my first meeting. I was having dinner with my partner and Mark Wahlberg, and I said, hey, Vince, I bet you $1,000 that I could beat you in a 40-yard dash. But I was meaning to say that Mark Wahlberg could beat me in a 40-yard dash.
So it just came out wrong.
It just came out wrong. And that was the first time I had met him. And so Vince was around every day of filming, and every day he challenged me, and I said, hey, Vince, we're just going to do this on the last day of filming. I thought I'd give myself a lot of time to train because I hadn't run in years. And probably 3 days before the end of filming, I bought some running shoes, and I decided to run around Philadelphia. I couldn't make it around a block. I was really scared that I was going to get embarrassed, but we ultimately ended up on the 40-yard line at Texas Stadium.
The old Texas, in Irving, Texas.
In Irving, Texas.
Where you were shooting
Yeah, we were shooting
scenes.
one scene.
Yeah.
Dallas scene. And Wahlberg just called it out, and I was nervous. I said, well, give me half an hour. And I went and ran around outside. It was really hot.
Sure.
And so Vince and I lined up, and he was, track guy, and he's all in his fancy track position. My heart's pounding. And I was probably 20 or 30 pounds heavier at this time, so I didn't look too good. But whistle blew, and I smoked him.
No!
Smoked him.
Really?
Yeah. He pulled the old, fake hammy thing. Oh, my hammy. And I'm like, come on, dude.
Oh. So you're invincible.
Yeah, I think I am.
When it comes down to that,
yeah,
right?
I never got my $1,000, though.
Well, maybe now that it's out there right now, we can collect that for you. And just great movies that you've put out there, Gordon. And I'm going to take a break right now, and 60 ticks left. I want to talk about your beautiful daughters and what's going on with them and you and your wife, and try and get some awareness to Batten disease, which is a horrible brain disease that we need to eradicate from this planet.
Agreed.
We'll do
Thank
our
you.
best. We're back with Gordon Gray, producer of some of the great movies that you've enjoyed for all these years, in just 60 ticks the clock here on The Rich Eisen Show. Welcome back to The Rich Eisen Show, producer of films The Rookie, Miracle, The Game Plan, Invincible, and McFarlane USA. Gordon Gray here on The Rich Eisen Show. Okay, let's talk about your daughters now. Your beautiful daughters, Charlotte and Gwenyth, who are 4, and how old is Gwenyth right now? How old is
She's turning 2 in July.
She's turning 2 in July. When did you and your wife first notice that that something was wrong with your daughter?
I make sports movies. I love sports.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was grooming my daughter to be the super athlete. Early on, I had her hitting tennis balls, playing soccer, taking dance. She was on the trampoline.
Mm-hmm.
She was running. And she was a great swimmer. So we started to notice that she was becoming tentative and losing interest in some of the things that she was really gifted at. And it sounds odd to say a 2-year-old was gifted, but she would jump off the diving board and swim across the pool easily. So we started noticing some real caution with her. And then, the big sign, the obvious sign, was that she went from speaking in 8-word sentences to 5 words to 3 words. And it started to sound like a little bit of a stutter was developing, but it wasn't really like a stutter that you know it to be. She was just getting stuck on words. That led to speech therapy, which led to a pediatric neurologist, a diagnosis of autism that we disputed because I had videotaped her entire life. I said, look what's happening. She's regressing. Something's wrong. Her peers were catching up to her, and she was well ahead of her peers and passing her. On December 24th, she tripped over a present at her house during a party, and when she got up, she started shaking badly. And we were told that was probably because she's autistic and probably is so tall that she's just not getting control of her body. We had given her Tamiflu because she was sick, and she convulsed all day after that. And ultimately, we captured on an iPhone one of her convulsions and showed it to the doctor, and she said, oh, God, you may be right. There could be something wrong with her. That led to an EEG, which showed some irregularities, which led to an MRI, which showed some issues with the matter in her brain, and then ultimately the exome gene sequencing, which gave us a diagnosis of Batten CLN6.
What is that? What is Batten?
We were told on this particular day by the doctor, we were taken into a small little room with a genetic counselor and the geneticist. Your daughter has Batten CLN6. It's rare, it's fatal, there's no cure. It's a neurodegenerative brain disease that causes the cells in the brain to atrophy and ultimately die because there's a lysosomal storage disorder that creates some buildup. Initially, you lose your mobility, your cognitive ability, then there's blindness, your ability to walk, talk, and ultimately you end up in a vegetative state with a feeding tube. So
And how many people apparently not many people have this disease.
It's probably so rare that they don't even know how many people actually are afflicted by it because it's misdiagnosed often. You know, my youngest daughter, Gwenyth, has it as well. We found that out a week later.
So you and your wife, Kristen, are taking in this diagnosis for Charlotte, and you say, let's get Gwenyth tested too for it?
Yeah, Gwenyth had a 25% chance of having it, and it turns out a week later we found out she has it as well. She's completely asymptomatic right now. She's perfect. She's running around on the trampoline and riding her scooter.
So is there a chance that they've misdiagnosed her, that you and your wife are looking?
No, because Charlotte was the same way when she was that age. So I like to describe it, if you think of my daughter's brain cells sort of falling on a scale, and when too many of them fall, the scale tilts, and then she loses ability. So, you know, we got this diagnosis, and of course we were shocked, but we don't want to accept that it's going to be fatal. We have a plan on, or a hope to cure it.
And what is that? Let's discuss this plan and how people may
we're trying to raise up to $10 million, possibly more, to accelerate research so that we could get what people are doing now in animal trials, in petri dishes. We'd like to get them into human trials. Right now, because of the rarity of the disease, it doesn't get a lot of attention. Without a lot of attention, you don't get a lot of funding. So we're bringing awareness and hopefully funding and the acceleration. When I've spoken to doctors, they've said, you know, we're probably 2 to 3 years away. It's probably going to be too late for your daughters. You should probably prepare for blindness and wheelchairs. And I said, well, how do we get beyond 2 to 3 years? And they said, funding. I said, okay, let me raise the money. You do the research. So that's what I'm doing right now.
And how I heard about this is because the celebrity community here in Los Angeles have been tweeting about it, Facebooking. I mean, people like Rihanna,
yeah,
and Mark Wahlberg, and it's getting out there. And the idea is just, even if there's just of their millions of followers, just $1
yeah,
each, how much have you been able to raise at this point?
I don't have the exact amount, but we're getting close to $1 million. So, you know, I think $2 million probably gets us out of the station. Mm-hmm. But we're still a long ways away from, you know, the desired amount.
CureBatten.org is the website. At CureBatten on Twitter. Hashtag that too to get this thing trending. And Facebook.com/Munchkin and at Munchkin Inc. I assume Munchkin is used because, is that what you call your daughters?
No, you know, we were approached by Steve Dunn, the owner of Munchkin.
Okay.
And he saw a video online, and he said, you know, come down to my office right away. I want to talk to you. He was moved to help, and he told me for the next 12 days he would give proceeds from the sales of all of Munchkin to my daughters. I thought it was incredibly generous of him. So that's why Munchkin's on there. I mean, it's right now, anybody who buys from Munchkin,
sure,
it benefits our cause, and hopefully, you know, like I said, we want to cure our daughters, cure the disease.
And have you been told that if this disease does get cured, that it can also affect other diseases of the brain, that they can actually help crack the code in many other ways of diseases?
You know, if we cure this, it provides the opportunity to cure a host of other neurodegenerative diseases. That's what I'm told. I hear it from all these scientists. So it's the same mechanism, same pathway to cure a lot of diseases.
I'm here with Gordon Gray, producer here on the Rich Eisen Show. So how are you going to spend Father's Day on Sunday, Gordon? You just take your time. Because coming up Sunday, as you know, and
I'll spend it with my girls. Yeah. Probably, we'll probably go down to the beach and have some fun.
Gordon, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing your story here. And if there's anything that can be done, at CureBatten, hashtag CureBatten, that's Twitter. Website, curebatten.org, facebook.com/Munchkin, and Instagram at Munchkin Inc. God bless you and your wife and your two beautiful daughters. And if there's anything that could be done, please just say the word. And this show and whatever platform we have, we're fortunate to have is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet. That's Gordon Gray. Everybody, please donate. Just anything will help, and it will help these two daughters, and then cure Batten disease, and then hopefully other diseases of the brain. We're back with more here on the Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.